So the new unit that we're going to do is a slave narrative unit. And we've already watched the video from Frederick Douglass, and we're going to start reading him next week. This week, what we're doing is reading from the female perspective, because that's going to be different, right? So we're looking at the female perspective. We're looking at a slave narrative from Harriet Jacobs. And this is an excerpt, which means it is a larger work, and we're just going to read a section of it. So I did post it on Schoology, but remember, you guys, you can get to the Holt McDougall, your English textbook, on this page, your class links. And if you do it this way, remember there's the audio, so it will read it to you. So if you click on this, it should bring you right to the page with your textbook. Mine's a little different because I have a bunch of textbooks. So if you go to the online textbook right here, and then the drop-down boxes. So we're going, it's going to be From Romanticism to Realism and Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. So you press go, and remember that the Adobe Flash never works, so you have to go to Allow, and then you have to go back and redo it. So Unit 3, Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. And again, these pages are directly on Schoology. So the first thing that I'm asking you guys to do is answer the question. It's like the larger question, like what is it that this story is trying to get us to understand or think about? So the question that you're answering is, what is the price of freedom? It says, parents often put their children's welfare before their own. In Harriet Jacobs' case, the sacrifice she made for her children was tremendous. Running away put her at risk of being caught and severely beaten, jailed, or sold. In addition, she deprived herself of the opportunity to play a role in the raising of her own children. So that's a little bit of the background and what we're talking about in this story. So where this says discuss, you are going to just write it on the bottom in the comment section. And if you would like to respond to somebody else's in an appropriate and educational way, I'll give you an extra credit point as well. I'm going to be often doing extra credit points just so you can make up for anything in the past that you didn't do, or if there's going to be future assignments that maybe you're unclear with. These extra credit assignments, you can do them all. You can get more than 100. So the discussion question is, think about sacrifices people have made for their own or their children's freedom. Discuss examples from the past to the present. And this is with a group of classmates. And that's what I'm talking, like you're just going to type this. And then it says, can the price of freedom ever be too high? And I know the sacrifices that my parents made for me, and the sacrifices that their parents made for them. We've kind of talked about this throughout the year. My father was an immigrant, and his parents came here in the late 1950s because of stuff that was happening in Ireland. There was a lot of violence, there was bombings, the Catholics and the Protestants were fighting a lot, and my uncle was kind of getting a little bit in on the bad side of the fighting. So in order to kind of get them out of that situation, my grandfather came here by himself. He was here for 6 years, left his 5 children in a different country, came here. The Irish weren't treated very well because it was, one of those time periods where they said, like, oh, the Irish are coming over here and taking everyone's jobs. And then slowly he sent over for one child at a time because it was all they could afford. And he wound up not being with my granny, his wife, for 13 years. So those types of things, those sacrifices. So this whole story is about Harriet Jacobs. She changes the names for different reasons. And that's kind of the difference between this and Frederick Douglass, where she changes all of the names. Douglass doesn't change any of them. He's name calling. So he's calling people out. And that's one of the differences that we're going to look at. But the similarities are things like looking at these narratives and looking at the structure of them, right? So there's obviously going to be conflict. There's internal conflict as well as external conflict. And those conflicts will create a type of suspense. Suspense meaning we are worried, there's tension, there's an excitement, there's this sense of we don't know what's going to happen. And then obviously in any type of writing, there's going to be characterization. We talked a lot about characterization when we were doing the Crucible. So we have indirect characterization, that's the steel chart, right? Speech, what they say and how they say it. T, thoughts, beliefs. What they think and what they believe tell us a lot about them. E, effects on others. How people react when that person is there. How we make other people feel, that says something about us. A, actions. Our actions speak louder than words. So what is it that we do? And how does what they do or how they act say something about their character? And then L is their looks. What do they look like? And how does that say something about their character? If we're looking at their clothes, or we're looking at their hair, if they're mangled, if they're dirty, all of those things tell us about these characters. So you're going to be looking at each of these characters to decide, who are they and what is it that we're supposed to learn about them. All right, make sure you're reading this background box. Because this is an excerpt, we're kind of going in the middle of this story. So this background box tells us where we are in that story. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can email, you can use the messaging service on Schoology, or you can use Remind. If you are not on Remind, please join. You can email me or message me and I will send you a link. Okay. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I will be back on, and you can watch videos. I will be back on tomorrow to do another video. Okay, bye guys.